wish to change for this next 10 days to increase our probability of scoring better for probably the entire group or individual?
Good question. Number one, I would like to start. I think I had this discussion with some of you individually. Like, I always have stress, but this time stress is stressful. I mean, stress is not stressful only. I kind of play with it. Like, this time it's actually stressful. I'm not getting a chance to think about or think through someone's problem thoroughly like that. I start a thought loop, it just goes in a line, and somebody wants attention, it gets dragged, and then it moves. And by the time I go there and come back and work on this has changed. So the goalposts keep changing. Let's say it's like playing chess here in football. Okay, fine. Now when I do it 2-3 times, I understand the goal radius, I understand the chess moves, I'm fine. By the time I come back, the pawns are everything is moved. The goalpost is changed. Like, I'm just not understanding what is. But having said that, it can't get better than this anywhere in India. Like someone who has this kind. It's not about me as a person. This kind of capability. There's no way they would work with less than 1,000 people. Probably 10,000 students if they have to play at mass. So there is no freaking way that somebody could work on at this level. So I had to back myself saying that it's hard. Like even for you individually, you're trying to cross a threshold because you know that with the existing capacity, it's hard to clear. You're trying to build a capacity which you didn't. Now even for me, I'm continuously trying to build a capacity which normally people don't have. Because I put this problem across a lot of IITs, including some of my mentors. They're like, it's insane. Why are you even working on this? But for me, if I could do this, that changes 10 families at once, just like that. Now, I would like to play this. Now, how am I solving the problem for myself? And how am I solving the problem for you? Now, if you understand how I solve a problem, it will be easy for you to do. First of all, accept. Because should I complain? Like, there is so much mental bandwidth which is getting dragged away. Now, my personal space is getting shrinked. Now, some people came into my community, and then my home, and then probably that's the motive. So, should I complain about it? Now, that's the normal thought process, right? But in reality, this was a dream at some point of time. Right? People trust me with one of the biggest problems. They go all across India, it's not solved. They come to me because of who I am, probably because we don't even like there's not a name board and a 99 rupees test series has a 10-page pamphlet. We don't have a single letter. We don't talk about anything. Now this is a dream at some point of time. When it becomes a reality, you can't complain. Let's say you want to drive a 500cc motorbike. Now when you actually get it, you can't complain that it's heavy and it's hard or whatever it is, right? So first, if you look at it from that perspective, now you're giving yourself an opportunity to clear, right? Let's say there is no exam. For example, you're stressed about exam. Let's imagine you don't have an exam. Would it help? Let's say exam is postponed. Exam is removed. You'll be left hanging, right? Because that's the exit. It's the exit door. Now you're saying walking through the door is stressful. Then let's remove the door and build a wall. What happens? But you have to understand exam is an opportunity. Now for me, this is an opportunity. Now the moment I come out of it, I move myself from the ability to help one student to 10 students. It's 10x growth in just one attempt. 10x growth. It's hard. I'm telling you, it's easy to, I would say, unilaterally teach thousands of students because there is no two-way communication. Listening is hard. Speaking is easy. So that way, I understand the problem is hard. And also I keep checking my intent. Am I doing it right? Is there something which I can do? But now, my parents have been wanting to come here. This is the first time I said, no, don't come and try to do this. My kid is going through a lot of trouble in Bangalore. I said, let me get to this particular situation. Now today, it's from the particular situation. At a personal level, I'm doing everything in my capacity to give my best. There could be something more, but this is what I could do right now. Even for you, you should stop there. You can't push yourself into self-sabotage mode. Because I see that. Sometimes when you have too much time, you procrastinate. When you have too little time, you succumb to pressure. When is it going to strike? Either way, you don't do it, right? At some point of time, we're like, okay, right, this, whatever has happened, right now, I'm putting my best out there, I'm putting my best out there, and I don't think I can do anything better. It's a combination of acceptance and improvement. If you blindly want to improve, you cannot improve. First, for improvement, for self-improvement, self-acceptance is done. What is self-acceptance? This is the best ever done in terms of my effort. I think all of you are clear about it. In terms of the effort and intent, is this your best attempt? Right. So when this is the best attempt, you need not compare your previous failures because you have never done this. Previous failures become irrelevant because you have never done this. Now if you have already done something like this, and then you have failed, then tell me. Now this is what now I have never put in so much intent and effort in any other problem of my life until now. So I don't know because there were some things which I failed, but then this was not the kind of effort I put in. So when I put in this kind of effort and intellectual bandwidth into this, probably I might see. What if one of you fail? What if all of you fail? Now these are scenarios. For me, the whole brand collapses. But what should I do about it? What can I do about it? Like, what can I practically do about it, right? So if you think through that, you're worrying about a problem which you don't have control over because there are only two possibilities, whether it's pass or fail. Whenever you think about an outcome by skipping the steps, most likely you're not thinking right. Now, if you get a thought, what if I fail? For that, what attach a why? Why would you fail? Now, when you're thinking, what if you fail? What makes you think that will fail? Now, this is the conversation. When we talk to people, they'll be like, what if someone won't clear even after mentorship? My question is, why do you think your kid won't clear? Don't you trust them or don't you trust us? You can't you cannot make a blanket statement that they'll fail. Why? Is there a gap there? Is there a gap? We don't trust them, take your time, come back. We don't trust them, let's do a demo trial or whatever. Let's put them through a test for 10 days and then I'll give you a better feedback. This is how it's like. Now even when you're thinking through, what if I fail? You break it down. What if I fail? Why would you fail? Is it because of the lack of coverage in syllabus? Is it because of your inability to revise something? Is it inability to present it to the exam? Now once you come and bring it down, is it something which cannot be fixed? Now for Vamsi, he's stuck in the zone of the study that before. Now today, we are looking at the problem very differently. Okay, fine. In those 3 hours, he's not putting in a certain mental intellect which he probably could. Now we are trying to extract it by only working on the presentation part, the last part. We are not going back to syllabus, we are not going back to all of that. By doing something, we decided like we'll add 5 marks, I'll add 5 marks, Manish will add 5 marks. We decided, we don't know whether it will work or not, but then we back up with insane consulting experience working with one of the best firms in the world. Like we should back off it. Still, we don't know whether it works or not, but we should. And we can say that we are going to solve problems for Forbes clients. Now, one paper, 5 marks, probably should be do. Now, similarly, when you're done so much, now when you say that in this particular exam, I'm getting stuck at 37, I think you should be able to back yourself saying that I do X, Y, Z, it will move to 42. Now, think in steps. Now, the other side, motivation. Like, this is the time where millions of motivation videos come onto YouTube. Like. Now, what happens? You're going to fail, X, Y, Z, blah, 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 barking wrong syndrome, and then you pass. How is the question? Now, you're here, you're thinking that you're failing, and you said something, and now you know that you'll pass. How? Whether it's the same thing, you're doing something, now you're thinking that you're going to fail. How? So, it has to be a step, logical step, right? That has to be, this is not releasing. Like, in releasing that can happen. With due respect, I follow it. I'm not criticizing it, but I'm saying there is a space where you surrender and then it happens. In ICA, it's not a religious organization. You can't say I surrender to you, I do whatever you tell me after clearing CA. No, nobody is going to listen. That's not going to happen. It's a structured and logical step-by-step process. When you have a step-by-step process, you definitely have to break everything into a step-by-step way and then solve it. So that way, the first thing which I'm thinking right now is, my book is gone now, so get that file on me. First, what we did is, for each and every subject, okay, we broke down the subject into 3 categories. What is that first category of topics which will give you at least 25 mark coverage in the denominator, and where you can score, let's say 15 mark in the numerator. So we broke it down into 3 parts. So now, first is how do you attempt the paper in a particular way where you get a desired outcome. So for each and every subject, we are able to break it down after very thorough analysis. Now, if someone is watching this is how we are doing. So let's say this is DT. Now, the first set of topics, especially from module 2, you can score at least 25 marks. That it will be reflected in the denominator, out of which you can score, let's say, 15 marks in the numerator. Now, there are two problems in this. When people give you weightages, they don't give you institute weightage. They attach a chance mechanism into the denominator. It's almost true, but not completely true. It could change for a net and come back and say that it was always there. There's no accountability, right? You can say something for the sake of it. Most of the time it works. What if it doesn't work? So here we removed the ambiguity. It will work for sure because we give you blocks, which is given by ICA itself and which is battle tested by going through a lot of previous papers. So we did that. Now talking about the net. Now the problem is everybody knows that consolidation comes with X amount of marks in the denominator. But the problem is we don't get it in the numerator. So you have to choose something which is true in a 2-step format, which is true in the denominator, which is true in the numerator. Once you do this, this is certain. Now this is what we did for my exam way back, like 40 marks, it's certain. 50 possibility versus 40 certainty is always versus 50 possibility. Like anybody can be this person, but then getting 1 lakh per month is far more better than you potentially being a billionaire at some point of time, right? So it's like in the immediate sense, this is exactly how we built it for each and every subject. Now apart from that, at a macro level, let's say, we can probably show this. There are these topics. Now we understood that most of you don't have an overview. When you don't have an overview, you're not knowing what you're jumping into. Like when you have to solve a problem, for example, this was fascinating. Like you have non-resident taxation, transfer pricing, double taxation, relief, advance ruling. So you have to understand the difference between taxation, relief, ruling. Like what is relief, what is ruling? What is the nature of the question out there? Now when you talk about taxation, the idea is to make the law applicable easily because you want to collect tax. And when you talk about relief, the applicability becomes hard because you don't want to give relief. So that way the questions are structured in that format. If you go and check, it works in that way. Now this is about the subject side, both in terms of how the syllabus is divided, how the examination part is divided. This is one. The second part is the customized part. For example, now Anshu has written 5 papers, like 5 papers. And normally if you write and leave the papers, it won't give you insights. Now here, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 5 days, 5 exams in a row. Nobody in India would do it. Nobody can do it actually. Now, what are we doing? Day 1, what is the MCQ bracket? What is the subject scores? Day 1 to day 2, day 2 to day 3, day 4, day 5. This gives you a number. This is good but not good enough. Now, once you break it down into specific mistakes which you are making, now this range of mistakes is very clear here. Now this becomes a playground for someone like Bhavana to work upon, who is an expert in this. Now this is what has happened. Now this is Anshu's level. Now don't question her. Now for me, her task is, I'm giving you this. You take whatever time it is. You charge whatever you want. But the question is, I want this to be solved. If it's 35, it's fine. If it's 37, it's fine. Take it to 42, 43. If you think about the first problem which is said, what if 1 of you failed? What if 10 of you failed? It's a bullshit thought because it doesn't have basis. Now if you think about this in this format, I know what to work on. Now this is exactly how you have to break it down in multiple ways. The other thing, now this is a time where a lot of people are extremely stressed. Students spend almost 20-30% time in mental maintenance. Now that 20-30% time, which is like 3 hours, what we are doing is, we are causing exhaustion by adding more work instead of you moving towards stress. Now what is stress? Stress is at a thought level. Stress is useless. Exhaustion is an outcome of the process. Exhaustion comes after you study for 3 hours. Stress comes when you don't study for 3 hours. So exhaustion is expensive. Like you're paying me for getting exhausted. Like now, what is personal training? Like personal trainer charges 10,000 per month. A regular gym, let's say, is 10,000 per year. What is the difference? If you go into a regular gym, you don't get exhausted. Now, personal trainer, this guy makes you get exhausted. Now, people pay by exhaustion. That's it. Now, when you get exhausted, what it means is you're churning out everything, and it comes into a process form. So 3 levels at a student, from the student perspective, we are working on this individual level. Now you have all done it. Now it's just that it has to translate into this paper for all the subjects. The moment you do this, you'll get clarity. This is one. And the second part, the mindset part, in terms of focus, attention, all of that has been sorted because of multiple things. Now it's just that the management part. Are you stressed or not? Now let's say I hardly spoke to you in a group format in the whole week, because at that point of time the problem was very different. You are lacking intensity. Now when you lack intensity, if I had the conversation 1 week before, you wouldn't even listen. Like, you can't even capture this. It wouldn't apply. It's like trying to build a 7th floor without the foundation. So you need to do, it's not about what is being done. When it has to be done, it makes a lot of difference. You also have to be very, I would say, particular about this aspect. When it is to be done. Now for that, we are working on this. Day 4, day 3, day 2, day 1. Why are you doing this set of chapters here? Why are you doing this set of chapters here? It's a micro program. That way, in terms of the quality of insights are coming after, taking the top 1% insights, which is question building. We directly rely upon, we're not hoping that something will happen. We're directly saying that this is what has happened. So we're extrapolating fast into the future. That is one. And second thing, the insights are given at a personal level, and we are focusing on planning, sorted, implementation, improvement. Now, implementation, tightening it, continuous improvement. Ruthless implementation, continuous improvement. And from here, it just comes get better. So that way, we have reached a point where all of you are reasonably looking towards clearing that. So like, you might, because if you are honest, most of the times you know that much before you go into the exam what is going to happen. But this time, you're at least thinking about it. You're at least fancying about it. Now from here, number 1, quantitatively we sorted. Step 1, quantitatively. Clear cut. 6 to 9. Let's say 2 to 5. The other slot could be 10 to 12 or 6 to 8. So 3 slots should be freeze. Like not even a minute disturbance. 9 hours it is sorted. So which gives us around 100 hours before the exam. We have 100 hours. This is done. Now qualitatively, how do we utilize this 100 hours? 1, this 100 hours can be utilized to cover 300 marks at a macro level. This is one. If you cover 100, like every 1 hour you have to cover 3 marks. Possible. You just revise, not in the sense cover. 3 marks, right? So we kind of break it into a 3-hour slot, which means in every 3-hour slot you should be able to cover a chapter which has 10 marks in the denominator, right? That is one part. For some of you, where there are gaps, like where you are 36, 37, what will we do? Instead of looking at coverage of 10 marks in the denominator, the focus should be on getting 1 mark in the numerator. Whether it's 10 marks or 20 marks, it's different. So this day we have to add 2-3 marks. That's what I think that's what we did for you today, right? We just focus on add just 3-4 marks. Now that is the reason why your journey was different from others. So that way, quantitatively sorted, qualitatively sorted. Now the whole external ecosystem. Now ecosystem, we understand when you get exhausted and what happens. Your brain works in a particular way. There's a pattern. Now you don't have to drive towards it. Now today, even I was discussing my prayer. Today, it was not as intense as it can be. The reason is when you have 2 hours of intense days, the third day goes haywire. 3 days of intensity will collapse. Now third day, when you kind of do it in discussion mode, all the outcome is more, you're talking to humans. Like when you talk to humans, you don't get exhausted. Now that is the reason why speaking is a very energetic profession. You speak for 10 hours, you don't get exhausted. Now when you type the same in a laptop, you get exhausted. So you need to know how your brain works and all of that. So that's the reason why we keep switching between doing things in individual model and also discussion mode. So that